get cooking. Let's get cooking. How y'all doing? What's going on, everyone? Thanksgiving coming up. Hopefully y'all doing well. All right. Let's do it. So I think what I'm going to do here is, this lake effect's a little bit different. Lake effect is a little bit different than your regular snowstorm because I'll show you. What's up, John? I'll show you 500 millibar. We're gonna take it. We're gonna take a little deep dive here. As long as my voice doesn't give out on me. I was sick this week, so I really hope my voice doesn't give out on me. We got some cough drops in the meantime to salvage that. So let me go back here now. It's all right. It's fine. So what we got going on here is we take a look at 500. Notice all this vorticity. We'll call it energy to simplify it. Notice what we've had rolling it through here in the last 24 hours. When it's November and you got cold weather rolling through over the lakes, and the lakes are still open, it's a classic recipe for how you get lake effect snow. Classic. And when the winds knock the lake effect bands are set up, you get cold, right? We got the lakes aren't frozen, so that means we have moisture. We have warmer air moisture than the air above in the atmosphere. And when that means that cold air, these winds coming off the ocean, we create little convective bands that become quasi-stationary, and these things just set up and they park themselves for as long as they want to. Just take a look here. Yeah, all this energy has to move out, and then this has to come through too. So there'll probably be some lake effect stuff with this too. There probably won't be. Notice our precip mostly getting shunted to the south here, because this will amp up, and then Canada will get their own little special snowstorm here. The lakes aren't frozen because it's November. That's why November is the king of the lake effect months. I'm sorry, we're gonna have to go through a lot of cough drops tonight. We're gonna make it through this stream because otherwise it's not gonna cooperate. But point is, January is the king of snow. Lake effect snow is not the same as what we typically see from regular snowstorms. I don't have COVID. Lake effect snowstorms, I just explained, is we get these quasi bands set up. Typically, they're off Lake Erie or Lake Ontario. Well, that was a little. And it happens here too, right? It happens all around the Great Lakes, and we get energy, vorticity to move through. Well, I was earlier this week. I just didn't say anything. Yeah, this moving through here, and we get this wind to come off the lakes, and we push. Imagine we're pushing energy through in the upper levels, the mid levels, and the upper levels. Vorticity, technically. And this is how we create lake effect stuff. All right. We'll get through there later, but we take a look here. Well, let's take some of these soundings. These lake effect, you get such good snow growth because it's convective snow. It's convective snow. This is not snow generated from a big mid-latitude cyclone. This is snow this is convective snow that's generated off the lakes. So it's kind of similar to snow squalls. We've generated with a lot of the energy we've had rolling through over the past couple of days. We've had some snow squalls move across Pennsylvania today and across New York into the southwest Connecticut, and they really haven't made it. They really haven't made it into Massachusetts or central eastern Connecticut and Rhode Island. They haven't made it into southern New England all that much. But if we click on, let's see, let's get a sounding. Notice where our dendritic growth zone is. Look how low in the atmosphere our dendritic growth zone is. That means we're super, super cold all the way down here in the atmosphere. When our dendritic growth zone is that cold, and we're this cold in the lower levels of the atmosphere, that is really supportive for good snow growth. Really supportive for good snow growth. And snow growth means how good our snowflake production is. So when you look at your snowflakes, are they crystally? Are they super thin? Almost feel like sleet pellets. Almost, they're so crystally, super hard, small, or are these big fat, wet flakes? And typically, wet flakes is what we saw last storm. So we don't want them. We don't want super wet flakes to the point where they're not going to be able to accumulate as fast. But we want big fat flakes in order to accumulate snow as fast as we can. And again, typically we look for the DGZ. We look for it. Where's our -20 line? And we look for a -10. And this is so low in the atmosphere. We are so cold all the way through here. We're well saturated through the dendritic growth zone and even above. We don't need to be super saturated through here because this is where we're making our snow. We're making our snow typically from -20 to -10 degrees is where we make our snow happen. And it's just been prolonged. And notice too, not on this particular, see, got anything? No. We did have, looks like the environment's not as supportive anymore tonight, which is why we haven't seen it. But notice CAPE values, convective available potential energy. This is what we look for to create thunderstorms in the summertime typically. But what we look for with convective, it goes hand in hand, convective snow, convective available potential energy, CAPE. That's what we look for with the potential for thunderstorm. That's why we've seen so many people talking about, or not just talking about, but taking videos of thunder snow. Because when we have this cold, really super cold air meeting this warm, air on the lakes. Now, if you went in there, you'd be like, oh, this is not that warm. I mean, the lake temperatures are probably not super. I mean, I got to imagine they're anywhere from maybe 40 to 50 something degrees. I don't have. I mean, we can look it up. I'm genuinely curious. Yep, looks like I was just about right. So Buffalo water temperature is 51, Rochester 48. So probably 45 to 55 degrees. Most of the lake is. Remember, that's above 32 degrees too. The lakes aren't frozen; they're still open, so that those two coincide. And especially when we're in now mid-November, and especially we've had a couple of cold air masses start to work their way in, and it's been, we've had some relatively cold stretches compared to usual, but it's just plenty enough supportive to create big lake effect snow event for sure. And given the upper level profile, the mid to upper level profile that we talked about, at 500. This is a really classic setup for big time lake effect snow event, and it's not only this area, right? Michigan, we've had some big time totals. Michigan, Minnesota too. Big time snow totals. We take a look at the snowfall totals over the past 48 to 72 hours. Minnesota has been seeing, I think they've had like 3 feet plus of lake effect in that upper peninsula there of Michigan and the Minnesota area. Let's take a look at some of the snowfall totals. No, I don't like this. I don't like this. I just want the totals. I don't know why it keeps bringing me here. Damn it. I don't like this new feature because it doesn't tell me the actual totals. It's not as accurate in my opinion. Well, whatever. We'll use it. Notice we've had big snowfall totals in here. Some of the same vorticity that's been moving through, right? Over here we had big time thunderstorm yesterday on Michigan, right? See these 2-3 foot totals, 1 to 2 feet across Michigan too. Lots of lake effect, and then obviously because and I don't like this too because look, it doesn't update. For some reason it shouldn't take 24 hours to update all these totals, and I don't know why I don't get the. I don't know why it doesn't give me the snowfall totals anymore. I don't like this one. Let's do some exploring. Let's see here. Observe precipitation. Well, I want snowfall. There we go. Oh, that's not it. I already clicked. Damn it. Let's see where we are here. Is it really not going to give me this? I can get this easy everywhere else for some reason. I don't know why they're making this hard. They're making it super difficult for me to get to, but we'll go to NWS Buffalo. Take a look at some. I saw 66 inches not too long ago, so some of these places are probably over 6 feet by now. Probably over 6 feet. But there's just more to come too. When do they make this? Look at this. Probably 1 to 3 more feet in these areas, and probably 2 to more feet in this area, and probably another 1 to 3 feet in this area. I think Buffalo's going to meander on and off in the edge of this. We'll see how they do, but I count on this area to keep getting hammered. So we do the math here. If we combine 6 feet with like 3 feet more of snow, and you do the math there, some places are going to get 100 inches, I think. I think some places are going to get 100 inches of snow in one lake effect event. Ridiculous. Extremely ridiculous. I want the PNS report. There we go. See, they still haven't updated 66. I've been following this guy on Twitter from Hamburg who's been reporting. I think he reported 6 feet. I think he reported over 6 feet from Hamburg like an hour ago. So we got 66 is the official top total, but again, they haven't updated this. This is from 2 p.m. Orchard Park reported this at 2 p.m. That's 10 hours ago. Oh, wait, no, is this? No, since 2 p.m. So I guess they updated this at 11:48 p.m. They did update this at 11:48 p.m., but they still haven't. So 7 p.m. So, but still, my point remains. It's been 5 hours. It's been 5 hours since the 66-inch snowfall total. So this is they probably got to be above 6 feet by now. They kind of were in and out of that band for a little bit, for like an hour, and then there was plenty of more that were in it as well. Blastel right on the coast, they probably have been in it for a while too. North Hamburg, they're getting pounded as well. I mean, it's the Hamburg. I mean, this whole area. We'll take a look at radar. Take a look at radar here. Notice that band starting to work actually into Buffalo now. So it looks like Buffalo's going to get into it for a little bit. I want this radar. Local radar is going to give me a little bit. We're going to get a little bit more precision here. Take a look here. Buffalo's band working right into Buffalo now. So it looks like Buffalo Airport's finally going to get into some of these totals here. Obviously, it's extending farther out. Because we're still having the winds carry this past inland. Now, the winds aren't as strong. I saw a tweet, too, talking about it. The winds aren't quite as strong with the 2014 as they were with the 2014 event. So we're not seeing bands push us farther inland. We're not seeing a jackpot push us farther inland. But that doesn't take away from the fact that it's plenty enough for this area right here to pick up already, I think, 5-6 feet of snowfall, and then add on another 1 to 3 feet probably. Right, so Buffalo's now working into this band. Right, so they're working this in the center of this band, but notice this band is, I mean, I don't know how many miles. This is probably a 15, 20 mile band at least. It looks like more, probably maybe 25, 30. I don't have it to scale right now, so it's hard to say, but all these areas that have been getting crushed, here are still getting crushed and are going to keep getting crushed with 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe more inch per hour rates. I mean, some of these snowfall rates are absolutely ridiculous, and the consistency is just making for some ridiculous snowfall rates in totals in general. Some ridiculous snowfall totals and rates. When you add up, 4, 5, 6 inch per hour rates, like over a 3-4 hour period, I mean, you get like 2 feet. You get 20 to 25 inches within 4 or 5 hours. That's how these kind of things can work, and it's ridiculous. And then you're working your way into still some ridiculously heavy bands, but now maybe you work your way into 2 to 4 inch per hour rates for the next 4 to 6 hours. And you pick up another 12 to 20 inches. Keep adding it up and up and up, and eventually you work your way to what we see now, 5, 6, 7 feet of snow. Well, not 7 feet quite yet, but soon. We'll be seeing 7 feet. We'll see 7 feet tonight. We'll see places hit that. It does happen with the ocean. Ocean effect snow is present. The problem is if we have vorticity, offshore, it means we're getting an actual snowstorm. We're not getting an ocean effect snowstorm. We're typically going to get an actual snowstorm if we have vorticity offshore and we're backing the flow. Ocean effect snow happens all the time, just not, and it's typically not to this extent. This area, the Great Lakes area, is a classic area for polar air to work its way over all the time. And when these swing through, you combine that polar air with the warmer moist lake moisture, and you have the winds. Boom. You push these bands here. You do see coastal enhancement or ocean effect with plenty of snowstorms. It's just we don't get prolific. We don't get prolific lake effect events like this. Yep. They moved the Bills game to Detroit, as they should, and I don't know how the Bills players are going to get there, to be honest. Especially if this band can sit on the edge just like this. This band can sit on the edge just like this in Buffalo. I believe that Buffalo airport is somewhere around here. Somewhere. It's on the northeast corridor. I don't know how they're going to get to Detroit unless they drive across Canada. That's maybe one way they could get there. I don't know how they're going to get to Detroit if this band parks not only over the airport, but Orchard Park, remember, is south. And you got to imagine, if you're a football player and your football stadium is here, why would I live in the city of Buffalo, even though the airport is here? Probably some do probably live, that's a little far, but you got to remember, they got to drive to and from practice every day. So they got to get here every single day. They canceled practice, so that's already a disadvantage. And now they got to worry about getting their players here to the airport. If this band sets up just like this band can set up just like this. And if it doesn't move anymore, and it's like this for the next 6 to 8 hours, it's going to be hard to get them boys. It's going to be hard to get them boys on a plane. I'm going to tell you that. It's already difficult enough. I'm sure guys all in this area are stranded already. I'm sure some live in this area too. And when I mean stranded in their houses. They're not, on the side of the road probably. Most of these athletes, they're tough on the field. Off the field, they ain't messing with the snow. Why would they leave Buffalo? It's usually they usually leave Saturday. I think they usually do. They leave. I think most teams leave like this Saturday morning is when they usually leave, and I'm not sure how they're going to get there. I'm not sure how they're going to get there, to be honest. It's going to be difficult. They have all the resources in the world, so they can maybe figure out a way, but I don't know. Get your passports ready. Travel across Canada. If they even get there, I don't know how you can't even drive around in this. Tony, if Buffalo gets into this ban for the next 6 to 8 hours, and they still sit in it for tomorrow, they get into another ban where they sit in like for 4 to 6 hours. Nobody leaving from that airport. Because Buffalo, this is kind of how the snow has been anywhere south of here, been getting pounded. And just south of Buffalo, has been getting pounded. Buffalo, the city itself, has not. But now they're working into the ban. And why isn't it letting me play? Can I not play this? And we take a look now. Let's take a look over here by Watertown, Fort Drum. I saw someone earlier today. They said they were snowing. It was like from 6 a.m. to like 3 p.m. or something, or 4 p.m. They picked up 27 inches, and they weren't even in the max swath. I mean, they were just northeast of Fort Drum. So they're probably back in it, to be honest. I think they were I think they were somewhere over here. And they told me they got 27 inches. Or you can't, it takes more. First of all, the plows are struggling. Dude, it's way more complicated than just putting some snow plows in front of a bus. Those are way more complicated than putting some snow plows in front of a bus. All right, that's not going to get the job done. You can barely plow this. This is hard enough to plow as it is. It's not as black as white. It's not in black and white as you think it would be. Why can't they do that? Bro, think about that. Shouldn't they plow and move them? Bro, it's like 7 feet of snow. This is going to be, like, you realize what I'm saying, right? 100 inches of snow. Some of these places are going to have like 100 inches of snow. No plows have been able to get through like the 4, and it happens fast. Like, we're talking 12-hour periods. Plows are trying to get 3 to 4 feet of snow. This is how fast the snow falls. Plows cannot remove. They can't cover area. They can't cover everywhere. Bro, think of it. Come on, guys. Turn on the common sense in your brains here. Turn it on. Turn it on, bro. They don't got any more special plows in Buffalo than they do anywhere else in the country. Anywhere else in the country that sees big snow, they don't got any more special plows than this. Well, come on. I need you all to turn on your common sense for a second. We're talking 4 to like 8 feet of snow here. That's what we're talking about. 4 to 8 feet of snow. This is not just plowing your driveway. This is plowing the swaths. Like, we're talking like, this is ridiculous. A lot to plow. Bro, why do they got different plows? They may have bigger trucks and they might have slightly bigger plows, but it's still really difficult to move all that snow. You're trying to move. Imagine if you had 4 feet of snow. This is 4. This is not even as much as some places are seeing. Imagine 4 feet of snow on top of your house. You imagine how much weight that is that's putting on your house? Now a plow has to move that over a 5-mile area. Your house, that much snow, times 5 miles. You see now where this is getting a little difficult to be? They're trying their best, but you can only do so much. And also, the plows get stuck on the roads. The plows are getting stuck on the roads, and it's not safe for people to plow when this much snow falls this much. Or it's more complex, bro. Come on, I need y'all to turn on. I need y'all to turn on the common sense in your minds right now. I need y'all to turn it on. This is super, super simple. Because there's snow on the road. They got to listen. Snow chains and tires can only do, but you can't move the snow if your truck can't move. All they can do is put chains and four-wheel drive. That's the best they can do. They don't got some special invention to make plows less, to make the tires of plows less slick than any other tires. Well, what did you think snowplows were? Bro, I can't even believe we've had this discussion for this long. Exactly. 70 inches of snow and there's some places are gonna get like 90, if not more. Well, yeah, it's I mean, again, no, because it's 90 to. I mean, think about the snowfall totals we're talking about here. The city was prepared. You can only do so much. That's like saying, why wasn't the city more prepared for the Category 5 hurricane? Why did all those buildings fail? It's not to the scale, but it's the equivalent to what you're saying, basically. Why wasn't the city more prepared for the Category 5 hurricane that ripped apart all the buildings? That's basically what you're saying. Not to the same scale, obviously, because we're talking about snow. You can only do so much. Weather's going to weather. This is what it is. Point is, we got the flow off Lake Ontario. So we're going to have, probably what we're going to see too is this band break off. And we'll see, we might see a dual banding structure over Lake Ontario over tonight and tomorrow morning. But you're still not seeing my point. You're still not seeing my point. To be fair, they could have borrowed snow plowers. Again, the more plows is not taking away the snow that easily. Like, you're still not seeing my point. You're still stuck on, for some reason, like they should just be able to remove all the snow, make all it go away, and it's all simple, it's all good, it's all easy. That's not how the world works. That's not how the world works. Man, y'all, we're moving on. I don't know why y'all don't get it. It's really simple, self-explanatory. You all see my you all see my point now? You see my point now? When I say, why can't plows just do everything? These cars don't have plows in front of them because they're stuck and they have semis blocking the road, and because it's unsafe to travel. It's white out conditions. Like, I don't understand what you're not. I don't get it. It's white out conditions. It is super hard to see. They're not blocking the highway. They're stuck. They are stuck. It is snowing too heavy. It's unsafe to travel. It's whiteout conditions. You see something, and your life can end like that. Because not everyone in the world has an IQ of 1,000. Look at this. No, not enough traction to move because there's so much snow in the area. The plows get stuck like this too. Right? These are those massive plows you're talking about, right? This is the massive plow you're talking about. All right, no traction. Right, y'all just don't get how the world works. Y'all just don't get how the world works. If you just think it's like supposed to, like the world does not work like sunshines and rainbows. That's not how the world works. It is not as black and white as that. The world does not work like that. Crap happens. Crap happens. We're done talking about snowplows. We're done. I showed you why. Showed you why. And at this point, you're either just trolling, being childish, or just truly don't understand still somehow. Even though I've explained it thoroughly and clearly, showed videos, provided evidence to why it doesn't work like that. Just a little bit of IQ, guys. Just a little bit. That's all it takes. I think someone's going to get over 100 inches. I honestly think someone could get over 100 inches of snow with this. Right? It's not to say, like, the point guys was making is that there's not no plows. There's plows still clearing roads. You clear road and you leave, and then you don't come back 4 hours later, you might have 15, 20 inches of snow on that road. And then if you can't get to that road for 7, 8 hours, and you're in the middle of that band, you might get like 30 inches, 35 inches of snow. It's not as cut and dry as you guys are trying to think it's supposed to be. That's not how the world works. Sure, you can shovel it. It will take you but the snow will melt before you finish shoveling. You can spend 2 weeks shoveling all the interstates if you want to. And I'm telling you, 2 people are going to mess up and they're going to try to shovel this all at once after it's done. And people are going to go into cardiac arrest. Just like it happened. It happened in 2014. 26 people died because of that. Bro, seriously? Seriously? I just told you how they died. Cardiac arrest. Am I not like? Am I enunciating the words I'm saying here? Like, am I cutting out or something? Is it not? Is my message not projecting clear? Is something being missed here, lost in translation? I feel like I'm speaking clearly. I feel like you guys can hear what I'm saying. All right. If you guys can hear me loud and clear, then what I'm saying should be pretty self-explanatory. I don't see any 70-degree temps in Buffalo anytime soon. Oh man, this band's just gonna sit for hours. Let's see. I want to see the snow growth on this band right here. Mesh there. No, it's funny. Buffalo itself doesn't usually get into the heaviest part of the band. It's usually the southern metro. It's usually the southern metro that usually gets into it. All right. Let's talk about some of the long range stuff, shall we? I don't think I have it. A multi-hour stream in me tonight. My voice is not going to support that. We're going through cough drops, so we're gonna bear through it. Well, Buffalo, the city probably won't get 100 inches. It'll be. I would look for places like Hamburg. I would look for Hamburg. I would look for Blastow. I would look at North Boston. There's a suburb called North Boston, New York, not Boston, Massachusetts. Yeah, Lackawanna, West Seneca, Orchard Park, all these towns. Right here. All these areas I would look at for potential anywhere from, potentially 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 feet, maybe, all said and done. Because remember I showed you at 500. We'll take one last look. Still got all this that needs to work through. All this still has got to work through here at 500. And maybe it won't be the prolonged extent to the bands that we saw last night and today, and tonight into tomorrow morning. I'm telling you, we still got all this to work through. Now, whether or not they consider this piece that's diving in here to be a part of the event, I mean, technically they're going to have to. There's just not going to be enough time. Separation. I mean, yeah, you call this all part of one event, basically. I mean, a lot of places are going to add on another 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 feet of snow. Some isolated spots, all said and done. I literally just explained. I don't understand how some of you guys aren't comprehending. I'm answering your questions within 2 seconds. I'm answering some of your guys' questions within 2 seconds. You're asking them still. Like I said, North Boston is a New York suburb and not Boston, Massachusetts, and we're still asking if it's Boston, Massachusetts. You know, there's a good chance if someone creates a new account and mentions their old one, it's possibly not the same person, or it may be the same person. Well, was not you SDJ or not you SDJ I was referring to. Hamburg is it is an actual place. It's a southern suburb of Buffalo. They get a lot of lake effect snow. A lot of lake effect snow. Let's get to it. Let's talk about some of the long range stuff we got going on. Now, this is what we're watching here. Now, I don't want you to get caught up. I don't want you guys to get caught up in what this specific result is showing right now. So what this is showing right now seriously want me to pull this up? I'm trying to move on, guys. I'm trying to move on to the stuff I wanted to talk about. The stuff I was talking about in last stream, guys. Kind of prolonging. Yeah, I'm going to explain to you all why you can't just look at precipitation type maps and model, and we're going to go over that all. But I'm going to need you guys to listen in on some of the stuff I'm saying and not just come up with assumptions before I talk about it. Right? You guys come into the stream because you want to learn about the stuff I'm going to talk about, or already maybe some of you already know, especially the Twitter space, but you just want to hear my thoughts. But if you already come up with assumptions before I even talk about it, North Boston, New York. Right here. Is it going to snow after Thanksgiving? We're going to see. I'm just about to break down. I'm breaking it down right now. There you go. There's more than one town. There's plenty of town names from other states, guys. All right, we gotta turn on our IQs just a little bit more. Okay, just a little bit more. Okay, so let's dive into it. Let's dive into our post Thanksgiving. Okay, once we get through this, we can talk about the lake effect stuff a little bit more again. I want to zoom out. No, I can't tell you exactly, man. We're like 8 days out or 7 days out. I can't give you an exact answer. I don't even know where you live. I'm sorry. I can't tell you exactly whether your backyard is going to snow or not. 7, 8 days out. That's just beyond my capability, my man. Beyond really anybody's capability. I tell you they're lying. So what we got going on here. Oh, we got this big old ridge out west. This big old ridge. We like to see this set up a little bit more. Pennsylvania. I mean, I could go what part of Pennsylvania. The point is here. Yeah, I'm gonna break this down here, and get and tell you my thoughts on this. I'm gonna tell you my thoughts on this. You know, if you don't like it, you don't have to stay if you don't want to. But I'm just gonna share my thoughts. So we got this big ridge working here out west. And here at 500 North, we got this big vort piece on the other side of this ridge. It's going to dive down. Now where this enters is going to be important. If we slide this here, we're really going to need something to press. We're going to need something to really press if we're going to drop this piece in on this side. Well, I'm going to give you my thoughts, but I can't promise you whether or not you're going to see snow. I'm sorry, my man. I wish I could tell you. If I could, I'd probably have a lot more followers. But it's beyond my capability. Bro, can y'all in the comments please stop listening to people that say it's not going to snow until January? Please. And maybe listen to what I'm talking about a little bit. You don't have to. I'm appreciative of you guys here, but yeah, talk to that guy a little bit. Is he wrong? You just said no more snow till January. You didn't give exactly a scientific reason to back it up. Well, remember in the chat, we don't divide. We don't divide. We do not divide people. Right? No need to call anybody bums. Let's just listen. Try to drop some knowledge for you YouTube folks here. Okay, well, you lost your argument right there, my guy. You lost your argument right there. Let's just don't listen to him. Do not listen to that. Whoever my man on Twitter is. Don't, please. All right, just listen. Listen to what I gotta say about this storm. Y'all are making it super difficult and making me want to turn off the chat right now. All I just want to do is get my thoughts on this storm right here that y'all made your minds up about because of climate change. Let's go. Big ridge working here out west. And again, the timing of when these pieces work in and also the placement is key, right? Because we're going to drop. Don't focus on exactly what this is showing. Do not focus on exactly what this is showing. This is not the point. This is not what model runs are designed to do, to tell you. Model runs are not designed to tell you exactly what's going to happen this far out. Remember, the latest model run is not the most accurate model run. This is all we just have to work with right now at the moment. Yes, the model run is wrong because you know why? We're 144 hours out from this time frame, and we're 180 hours out from this predicted time frame. There are going to be, let's count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. There's going to be about 30 more different runs before this storm comes. There's going to be about 30 more different runs, model runs. So if every single one of you believe the exact model run it shows every single time it comes, you're just going to be wrong. You're just going to be wrong. Okay? So, first of all, y'all like to look at this. This is what you do. You go here, and you go. Well, Look at the changes. This is not how you forecast. This is not how you forecast. This is how you forecast, and you gotta know what it's trying to tell you and what you're trying to look for. All we're looking for is the pieces on the table here. Guys, stuff changes 24 hours out from a storm. You can change like 100, 150 miles with a storm within like 24 hours. Seen it time and time again. We literally just did that last storm. As the storm was happening, RGM tried to put this band to set up right here. You know where it's set up? It's at about 150 miles inland, right here in Canada. So northern Vermont got 3 to 6 inches instead of potentially 6 to 12 or 6 to 10. It changes all the time. All the time, stuff changes. Model runs. Look at the last one. You want to talk about? Look. That's just one. That's one change between model run. It's one change. Now let's look back at all the different changes. All the different changes. Now, ideally, the closer you get, the less volatility we're going to see model run to run changes. And that will be true once we get closer. But we are not in the range yet where volatility is going to be limited. We are not in that range yet. We are absolutely not in the range yet. But I don't look for what model gives me the most snow. I look at the models that are most trusted, most accurate, and ones I can rely on more than others. Icon, we've been over it. A lot of you OG guys know that the icon is not good. So you should not ever trust anything the icon shows. If it's ever right, you're probably right for the wrong reasons. All right, this is the euro from the 12Z earlier today. We'll watch it roll out soon. Let's take a look at the last euro run. Not bad in terms of not seeing any massive changes. But we look at the run before that. Big change. Run before that, another big change. Run before that, another big change. I'm trying to show you guys is models are not designed to be perfect. This far out, they're not designed. If they were, we would be so advanced in forecasting from where before, and we could pinpoint snowstorms a week out. We can't do that. We can only identify the pieces on the table. Okay, so I'm going to need you guys to trust that I know what I'm talking about. From previous stuff I've talked about as well. You guys know I'm pretty decent at this. And I'm going to need you guys to trust that I have a decent idea on how these work. Okay, I don't mind breaking it down and getting really simplified to help you guys understand this. But what I can't have is you guys thinking that it all not to be disrespectful, but right, you guys are here for a reason. You want to see what my thoughts are, and you want to learn. So I need you to trust that what I'm saying is going to be at least somewhat informative and help you gain a better understanding of what is actually happening versus what models are shown, what specific model runs are showing, and however you take in that information. Because how I take in the information from what models show is going to be drastically different. I'm almost certain it's going to be drastically different from how you guys take in that information. Okay? All right, my man. You got money down on inches in Philly? You funny. Okay. Take a look. The Canadian's not as great of a model, but that's pretty close to what we want actually. Take a look at the P-type from that for a second. This is pretty close to what we want, right? Super close. Get that get that we get our initial piece that drops in. Right, we drop this a little bit more south. We dip our trough just a little bit more, and we consolidate our upper level low a little bit sooner. We get this all to happen a little bit farther south, and we're talking on this specific model run. Remember, this is probably the closest to what we're looking for right now. This specific run of the Canadian, and it's a good thing that we at least have one of our global models, even though it's probably not the greatest. It is better than people think along the meteorological world, but it is still it's very. I mean, none of the models are trustworthy in this range, but that the Canadian will stand out less from other models than it will in the short range. It has a known bias of struggling to amplify storms. It is, the RGM and the high res will do a little bit better with that. So that's why we look to that in the short range. But the Canadian is okay to use right now. But it's not perfect. It's not perfect, right? We're just looking for different. We're trying to see, how different models are laying the pieces on the table. Because you got to remember, if y'all can put your opinions with no reasons really. There's a reason I'm streaming right now, giving my thoughts, but you guys can't. You guys came here to see my thoughts, so that's what I'm doing. Notice where our pieces are that we're waiting for the storm. All right, let's track it back all the way. Right, this is 3 days from now. Oh, barely on the map. This is where our storm is. The rest of it, barely on the map of North America. Dude, like, are you trying to get yourself like banned or something? I don't understand. I don't understand. This is the wrong channel. If you think we're gonna look at P-type maps, the wrong place for you to come. If this is all you care about and this is all you're invested in, you just want to look at the P-type maps and want to get invested in all the current hype now for what you think is going to happen, this is the wrong channel. This is a hype-free, actual, realistic analysis and thoughts on what is going to happen in the weather. If you think this is just a mess around, direct weather kind of fun stuff, this is not how this is not how it works here. You can go somewhere else if you would like. I just explained to you. This is you got the wrong channel, my man. You got the wrong channel. Okay? So maybe you just take a minute to listen to what I'm saying, or just don't even show up at all. Like seriously. I'm taking time out of my day to give you guys information. And all you've done is just talk in the chat about stuff with really I don't know how smart any of you are at this. And you're just kind of just spewing thoughts out there. Just trying to talk about the weather. And all you want to do is talk about how you're not supposed to forecast the weather. Okay? Again, you cannot get focused on what the models show this far out. Okay, I'm not anything special, but I can tell you I have the blueprint on how to forecast properly. That doesn't mean I am as good as other meteorologists, or I'm not even a meteorologist technically, not technically, literally, but I understand how to forecast. And any of you that were with me for the last storm understand I got a pretty good idea of how to do this. All the models were showing something specific, and the models were wrong, and I told you where the models were going to be wrong, and exactly what happened. to an extent. So you all can get caught up and you can look at what the model runs are doing now, and I will continue to explain why you're wrong, basically. Could this be rain? Sure, it could be. This could just be a big dynamic rain for for the Northeast and the interior Northeast and Ohio Valley, Ohio Midwest. They get the snow. Is it entirely possible? Yes. There's nothing definitive. If the best you can come out with is the P-type map 168 hours out on a storm, that's not telling me anything. That's not telling me anything. You gotta trust me. You gotta trust that I know what the heck I'm talking about. Okay, I've been doing this for years now. I understand what is right and what is wrong when it comes to forecasting. Okay? Okay, but I keep explaining to you guys that P-type map. No, they don't. They don't. You think they do? They don't. They're really for people that don't understand the weather to check models and to think they know what's going to happen in models. When really, P-type maps 168 hours out is not how you forecast. That is not. That is not how you forecast. That's not how it works. I've gone over this time and time again. I don't understand. I don't understand. You gotta let me. I don't know why you're believing someone you've never met before that doesn't stream his thoughts and just comes up with stuff. And I'm trying to explain to you what's going to happen. All right, dude. We gotta. Sorry, dude. You get. I can't. I can't with you. I can't. I usually give warnings. I can't. I can't. I'm trying to do a stream here. I'm trying to forecast, and all you're doing is messing up with my comments. That's all you're doing. Okay, I actually can provide insight to you guys on what I'm looking at. What are the possible scenarios? He's staying. He just can't comment for a few minutes. That's all it is. Okay. Guys, I've been doing this for years now. I've been doing this for years. My point is, we struggle to forecast the weather with 24 hours out. We struggle to pinpoint exact locations of a rain snow line, especially when we have those kind of events within like 24 hours. We don't know exactly where that sets up until it actually happens. Now we're looking at stuff that's not quite that specific. Okay, we're not looking at stuff that specific right now. We're just trying to figure out where this sets up. Okay, and I'm telling you for a fact, models do not get storms right a week out. That is a fact. You can say whatever you want. You can look at all the P-type maps you want. Models do not get storms exactly pinpointed right a week out. In like 70% of the time, it's not even exactly, it's barely. Okay, they do not get it right. Okay, this is a lot. This is potentially a big system with a lot with moving pieces, okay, that are volatile. Okay. Still waiting for a lot of these pieces to be sampled in the US. And what I mean by that is we do not get good sampling of weather data in all through this region, especially all through here. Alaska is better, but even still, we don't get any sampling in here. We don't get any sampling of weather data here. Okay. This is currently where our storm system is. This is what we're watching for right here. Okay, this is what we're watching for. Still waiting for that, right? Still waiting for that. 3 days out, we're still not getting, right? All this vorticity right here. Still waiting for this to get sampled. Still waiting for this to get sampled. Finally, within the next about 4 to 5 days out, we get this over Canada, and we get this into the U.S. mainland, and that's when we'll start to get a not a picture clear, but a much better idea of what we're working with. So for the next 3-4 days, we're going to see a lot of changes in models. And you know why? Because we're still we got to wait for the system to move out. That's part of our lake effect. And then we're waiting for another shortwave trough after that. And then what we can see what we're working with. Right? We'll have to see how this is a polar vortex lobe right here. It's like a little bit of a low. We'll see how much of this PV lobe gets in some cold Arctic air associated with this. We'll see. Still have to wait for it. We'll have to see how far this south or north gets. We'll have to wait for that. All right, there's a long ways to go, right? So we'll have another small, weaker shortwave trough to watch, and then another nice little southern board of energy that will work its way out. So this next week will probably be some rain for the southeast U.S. This will slide off. So many different pieces that we're still waiting for until eventually, and then a system this big, still have to wait to see where the trough exactly sets over. And then we have to figure out, where does this piece come in? What's the angle that this piece comes in? Does it come in at this angle? Or does it come in at this angle? And where our trough is gonna depend on that a lot. Where our storm system sets up is going to depend on all these different moving pieces that I'm talking about. And then once it sets up over there, then we still got to wait to figure out where exactly it sets up. Okay, I'm telling you how this works is any given model run could potentially be a big hit. And even if it was a big hit, you couldn't believe it. If this was all showing snow right now, guys, if this was all showing snow, we may, in every model run showing it, that'd be great. We'd have a little bit more potential agreement, and I'd be maybe a little bit more bullish on some of the things I'm saying, but we still don't. We still, and even if that was the case, I would still tell you this is super far out, and we're going to see a lot of changes, because this is how it works in this time frame. This is how it works in this time frame. We are still a far ways away from figuring out exactly, especially for your own backyard, let alone specific regions. We're still trying to figure out what kind of storm we're working with. Right? Ideally, we can get this to set up a little bit further south, so we got a little bit more cold air to work with. And not only that, we'll press this down a little bit more. Probably. And depending, we'll have to watch the southeast ridge too, this big ridge here. How much does this push? How far west does this push? Because if that's the case, then it's going to want to push this farther inland. This vortex is going to want to push farther inland as opposed to further offshore. Right, so we have this big trough to watch, and potentially this could be a transfer. This could be a transfer system where we're transferring energy from our main big upper level low. We're transferring our low pressure from this big upper level low, and then we'll transfer it to slide off this off the eastern seaboard, off this big vort, off our upper level low, and then we'll have to watch from there. Ensembles are a little bit more helpful, and especially in this range, to give an idea of what the spread is. So we take a look at the Jeffs, which is all the different ensemble members compared to what the GFS is showing itself. Notice how it's way less uncertain. It's because there's so many different members doing so many different things. And this is a really good setup. This is a really good setup for 6 days out. That's not exactly what it is. This is a really good setup for the Northeast with a trough like this, 6-7 days out. This is a really good setup. Just looking at some of the ensembles, and we can look at all the different members too. All the different ensemble members. It's not letting me for some reason. I don't know why. Is it 18Z? Is that letting me? Strange. Usually it lets me see every individual low pressure. Well, regardless, this will provide the mean location of the low pressure. So we look at this versus the GFS. Notice the difference. Right? So the GEFS stands for, the E stands for ensemble. All the different ensemble members. So all the different members, ensembles are much more useful, and they kind of give you. I'm not even a huge ensemble guy, to be honest, but this is the kind of event where ensembles, especially when the operationals are disagreeing with the ensembles to the extent we see, this is when I start to value the ensembles a little bit more. And not just because, obviously we're looking for how we can get snow, but the point is, when we see disagreement like this, we can very, very, very much see that there's disagreement here. We'll slide in from North America. Notice the difference, right? The ensembles, all these different. Oh, I know why now. Okay, I'll be able to get it. Notice every number you see on the screen, these 2-digit, 3-digit, all these 2-digit numbers here. That's all one member. These are all one members of low pressure. This is where it has. Now this is a little bit complicated, can be a little bit deceiving, because this could potentially be a transfer system. But when we have, look where all of these low pressures are. All these are all low pressures. Again, let me explain. This is an ensemble. So what this is, these are all little runs. Imagine these are all like tests. These are all test products, basically. Imagine it kind of like that. And they're all trying to see, not to the extent, but they're all trying to see which one is going to be the best one. Now, that's not the point of the ensemble. The point is you have all these different models, all these different, sub models of the main operational model that use a lot of the same physics that go into to the operational, but they're just altered a little bit so they can provide more perspective of different scenarios that could happen. And some ensemble members are more suited for others. We don't have a lot of information available to the public on that, and I'm sure people that work and know about the ensembles a lot can probably have a better feel for how the ensemble biases work. But the point is, when we have this much spread, suggesting we could have anywhere from here uh, to, I mean, really, we have one sliding out right here. This is kind of the range we're working with, based on our ensemble members on the GFS. So basically, we're suggesting now. Again, remember I said this is potentially a transfer system where we could potentially be looking at. This could be mess. This is hard, especially in this range to tell, because it could be messing with the timing of the transfer here. But given our mean is that we have our transfer take place and we have all these different low pressures, strong low pressures in this range, that's where our strongest mean is of where our low pressure is. This is very suggesting that typically northwest of the low pressure is where you look for snow. So this is very suggestive that potentially, now maybe not that close, but this is a setup where we can look at for potential snow. Now it's not exactly that black and white, but this is what we're looking at. We look at all these different ensemble members. Now I'll pull up a website after. Hopefully the Euro will give me some. We only have the 12Z when it comes to, they call it the EPS is what they call it. So we only have, because 0Z is still running. 0Z won't come out for another hour and a half or so. But notice when we look at the Euro, the mean it has a pretty decent mean too of low pressure. It has a mean of 1004 sitting off the east coast. And I honestly like this. This is where our low pressure is. There's a lot of strong members in there. None of these are low pressure members that are gliding up like this. I mean, some are. There's a few. There's not a ton though. Most of these are anywhere like we see our cluster here. We have another cluster here. Right? We have a couple of clusters right there, right? Create a couple eyeballs right there. Couple of clusters that we're looking at on this specific ensemble run. And now got to remember, just like the operational runs, the ensembles are going to change every 12 hours as well, or every 6 hours technically. So you got to put that in perspective. No, it's okay, Godchurch. It's okay. I'm just not going to address him. Address him. I don't feel like he deserves to be banned, whatsoever. For some reason, he's just very obsessed, but that's okay. In due time, it will tell. In due time, it will tell. And we'll take a look here at COD. Here we go. No, ensembles. Jeff's. Northeast, and we'll get a winter, get mean snow accumulation, and we'll slide it out to 204 hours. We'll see, let's compare it to 18Z. Is it 18Z? 0Z. So they slid it even south. So this is the mean snowfall for this far out. Now I would use caution, right? We're so far out, this is going to change probably a lot. But currently favoring, right, interior northeast areas with this upcoming setup. Now you got to remember some of this, right? This is lake effect. You got to remember these two spots are lake effect, so this is not specific to the storm. But notice there's not really super high totals on this map when we're talking about such a dynamic storm. That's typically something you see with a lot of spread. All right, dude. You're really messing up my chat right now. Like you're spreading misinformation, and it's really frustrating. So I would suggest just being quiet and listening to the potential shot that I may know a thing or two of what I'm talking about. I may know a thing or two. I may have a decent idea on how to forecast, possibly. Okay. And what you're saying is not true. It's not true. It was not all snow last storm. It was not. In fact, the whole I-95 corridor rained, and much of the interior mixed. So what you're saying is not even true. Okay, so I'm gonna give you another chance to stop being so chaotic and destructive in my chat right now and spreading and misleading people on how models work right now. Okay. And then maybe you can listen and see what I'm saying. I've already laid out why models in this time frame are not accurate and are not telling you exactly what's going to happen. If you believed every model run that was coming 7 days out, you would be wrong every single time. So just please stop. Please stop. Nicely. I feel like you should show a decent level of respect for someone you don't know and never met. This is my stream. I'm running things here, okay? If you don't like it, you can go somewhere else. There's plenty of other spots to discuss what you want to discuss if you don't like it. Okay? I'm pretty fair. A lot of the people in the chat know I'm pretty nice, very reasonable, very respectable to all the people that come in until you show a lack of respect for me. Okay? That's where I stand. So you can continue to keep doing what you're doing, and you're just going to get yourself out of here. That's all that's going to happen. You're not getting anything out of this by keep doing what you're doing, my man. Maybe you can just sit back and listen for a second and let me explain to the people that want to know what I'm talking about, because there's plenty. I'm taking time to talk about your chats instead of talking about what I want to talk about with the weather. And it's super frustrating. Taking time out of my day to talk about what I want to talk about, not what you want to talk about. I'm a person, okay? I'm an actual person that you continue to mess with. This is not a game. I am an actual person who has an actual life, who is actually talking about the weather. All right. See you, my man. See you. Gave you plenty of chances. Plenty of chances. Plenty and plenty and plenty of chances. Was tired. Tired. Okay, so you can view as much as you want. You can view as much as you want now. Okay, but you won't be able to put a chat in. I am not gonna listen. I'm not gonna listen to you. This is he's not a man. He can come to my channel anytime he wants and listen to me as much as he wants. He just can't comment. Okay? I gave you chance after chance after chance to be respectable, and all you did was be disrespectful the whole time. That's all you do is be disrespectful. And I'm taking time now away from people on Twitter who are going to come back and rewatch this and listen to me get into all this stupid stuff and sidetracks from what I want to talk about. I have life. I don't have to do this. Okay, I can easily be doing just kicking back and watching some sports right now. Okay, I am taking time out of my day to give you guys information you potentially want. You don't want it, then you don't have to come, and I don't have to do this. Any more people that want to be like him, feel free. Feel free. You're just going to get the same results. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, thank you, Susan. I shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to gotten to what I just said to, but apparently I did, because there's people immature enough, disrespectful enough to feel like they can just do that, and they'll learn eventually, or maybe they won't learn, and that will cause them to have problems in their life. They do that to other people. But getting back to what I was talking about, ensembles are designed to give us an idea down the road of all the different members. So imagine it's a bunch of operational runs that are maybe not quite as good as the operational, which is why the current we have one GFS that's operational, because that's the best model they felt they can make for the GFS. Okay. So now we have the GEFS, which is the GFS ensemble. So this is a mean of all the different ensemble members. Now we can look at each different. These are all the different members. All these different members run. And there's different pages too, I'm pretty sure. It's only giving me like 20 of them, but I think there's more than this, to be honest. But notice, big hit for the Northeast on this one. Pretty big hit here. Pretty decent hit here. This one for Maine. Another hit here, right? So we have ensemble members here that are showing the potential. But just notice the spread too, right? Like some are showing here. I mean, I think this is this weekend storm, to be honest. Right, so we have all this different spread currently in the GEFS ensemble members. He's not banned, guys. He's not banned. He can still watch. No one is banned. I have never banned anyone from this channel. Anyone can watch this channel. I just can't. Just their chats is not accessible. That's it. That's it. No one's banned, guys. I'm not. I mean, you saw the chats, okay? Can we please move on? Like, I got stiff. Like, ask questions about this stuff right here. Ask sincere questions about this stuff. Not all the P-type models. Not all the P-type shows rain. That's not. You're missing the point. Wow, you're missing the point. The point is, I don't have a reason to ban anybody ever. Okay. It's just there's a certain level. It's not hard to be respectful, guys. It's not hard to be respectable. It's not hard. Okay, I have other people than just the YouTube chat. I have people who in Twitter who are going to rewatch this, who are going to rewatch this and going to want to know information. got 5,000, almost 5,000 people, followers. Okay, there's probably going to be 100 or 200 people who are going to come back and rewatch this and want to learn what my thoughts are. Instead, what they're going to hear half the time is me going on tangents about just YouTube chats. Okay, the YouTube chat is extra. The YouTube is extra. I have no problem with just streaming on Twitter. I got plenty of people on here on Twitter who have no problem to listen to what I got to say. No problem. I am never going to have a problem with that with my Twitter chat. Okay? It's pretty simple, guys. It's just a simple level of respect and genuine curiosity about things involving the weather. It's not that difficult. It's not that difficult. Okay, and Susie, if you have actual questions, then you can feel free to ask them. Feel free to ask them. But I'd advise just to wait a little bit more because I still a little bit more to go through in terms of the overall because I've gotten sidetracked, as you can obviously tell, with some of this stuff. Okay. So, I guess, well, we can take a look at and see what the Euro operational run did. But you got to remember, these operational runs are not designed to get it out so far out. Models are tools. You guys got to remember this. Models are tools. They are not forecasts. The models themselves make forecasts, but they're designed for meteorologists to be used as tools. They are not designed to be forecasts. It's our job to see what the model it's our job as a forecaster to see what the model is doing and then try to come up with a conclusion based on past history, past events, and what the current pattern is suggesting to make the best prediction we can. Okay, so anybody that tells you models are designed to be forecasts is wrong. And that's why that person that kept suggesting that is wrong when he's trying to suggest that the model is right because it's showing what it's showing now. Even if he was talking about 500 millibars, which I can't even imagine he even understands 500 millibars. Couldn't be able to explain anything in 500 millibars to me. Just a p-type map. Still be wrong because of what the current setup is not exactly going to be what it is a day from now, 2 days from now, 3 days from now. Okay. Okay, compare this to 12Z, see what we got going. Looks like a little bit less consolidated already. Looks like we're going to drop this a little bit further. Big, we close off here. Let's see what happened. The difference. It's really wound up, closed off, but notice we got going off here. Looks like a new area. We got all this convection still dispersed on this east side. Looks like we're probably snowing here. Probably snowing in these areas. On this specific run, you got to remember. But take a brief look. Yep. Right. And remember, right? All these models show what they do now does not mean exactly is how this is going to set up. Still a lot of stuff that needs to be figured out in these models. Remember how long I pointed back to where we are? Look how far away we are still with this system. Six, 7 days before it gets here. A lot of changes are going to come. A lot of changes are going to come. We are nowhere near done yet. We still have a lot to figure out. I don't think the stress even go out this far. Yeah, they only go out like 87 hours. I don't get the EPS. I thought I did get the Euro on here.
It's whatever. Oh, here we go. Right. Notice, all these different, right? These are all different, the GFS model runs here, right? Snow here. Complicated, but still snow here. We got snow here. Mainly for the interior. We big one around this one. Snow here. If I play these back. You can kind of see, right? These are all different specific model runs. And we use these to try to get an idea of what the mean is currently at the moment. And then try to figure it out. And notice some of these are still way too offshore. Some of these are even offshore, right? This is offshore. This is offshore. Right? So some of these are even not even inland, they're offshore. So you got to remember there's still a lot of model spread. There's still a lot of model spread. No, that's God church. It's frowned upon. It's frowned upon, and I don't want to be be used. I don't want to be caught on live stream. Breaking their rules. They're pretty strict about that stuff. They probably wouldn't know because I'm not that big, but they definitely it is frowned upon. See what these are the JEP. So this is the Canadian Ensemble members. Get a look at the mean 500 look. I mean, you can still notice how there's zero consolidation. Like there's a little bit more consolidation on the GFS. I forget how many members that run on this, but notice the spread, the spread across all these ensemble members. It's not frowned upon. It's actually not allowed. I was just trying to be. I was just trying to be respectful. It's not. It's not allowed. I'm sure. I think some people do it, privately, which is better. But I'm on stream. I'm on stream here, so and even then, it's not allowed. So. But still notice, right? So much spread here, so much spread across. Here on 500, and I'm sure we can give me some of the. No, it's not going to. That's okay. You see how the low it jumps around. Right, there's a low pressure here, but also there's a really strong mean just offshore. As you can come here, right? There's so much spread still in the models so far. I mean, this is 204 hours out, so this is a little beyond the time frame we're looking at. But there's still a lot of spread in the models. Oh, this is 12Z. Oh, because 0Z hasn't loaded yet. So this was the 12Zs from earlier today. The point. Guys, you're focusing on the wrong things, guys. You gotta relax about the weather bell. I don't just listen to what I gotta say and ask questions on what I'm talking about. That's so. Do the members that create these models have a written report that explains their model variants? Well, it's basically, I mean, it's a big supercomputer, basically where all these models are created from, and every model has different physics
and all the ensemble members have different variations of those physics. Um, Typically, they tend you'll see the ensemble members wherever the operational model trends, or there's not really a trend from run to run ever. Wherever it shifts from run to run, you tend to see the ensemble members follow, because there's variations, but still similar physics that they put into these models to create them the way that they are. And we discussed this a few weeks ago, I think, with the hurricane, one of the hurricanes. I forget which one we were talking about, but there's all these different ensemble members, but even with just the operational members, they create different physics, because they're trying to create, a model the best they can with, the budget they have, and, the tools they have. So and then it's our job to try to figure out, based on what these models are showing, they're doing the best they can given the physics that they have put in them. And then it's the forecaster's job to try to use that based on, you got to know model biases. What does it tend to do in these kind of events? Based on past events similar, how has it performed? You got to take into account all that stuff. And, the farther out you go, the more probabilities there are for certain things to change in a certain direction. So that's kind of my point. We're this far out. We shouldn't be trying to pinpoint exactly where the storm is going to hit, when who knows if this could get to the point where it just slides off this could be where the point where it just slides off the East Coast and no one gets a snowstorm. That's a possibility. So I am very, very trying to be very clear tonight with people that are trying to push back because they think they know everything, when they don't, about what exactly is going to happen, because we don't know exactly what was going to happen. If I knew exactly what was going to happen, I would have provided a clear-cut answer on why and what is going to happen. It's just we don't have those answers right now. Why are you telling me what to do, my man? Why are you telling me what to do? Like, I live my life, you live your life. I don't tell you how to live your life, and you don't need to tell me how to live my life. Okay? I don't know why, why, there's no need to be, you don't got to be a problem in the chat, my man. You don't got to be a problem in the chat. Again, there's plenty. I know Weather Bell. If I was going to get Weather Bell, I would have already got it. Okay, I don't want to spend $270 on Weather Bell. I've discussed this with other people. I don't want to. It's okay, Susie. I appreciate that you found my channel. I promise it's much more organized than this usually, and when we had these big storms throughout the winter, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to address the YouTube chat, especially if the YouTube chat is going to handle themselves like they did tonight. It's going to be a little bit harder for me to address them, because I'll have a lot of questions in the Twitter chat as well. But the people that are being very respectful and are very genuine and want to learn about what I'm talking about, or want to just hear my thoughts. Maybe they know a lot about the weather already, but just want to hear my thoughts. Those are the people ultimately that I'm going to give back to the most when it comes to my thoughts. It's pretty simple. If you're being chaotic in a problem in the chat, I'm not going to be as easygoing with you, compared to other people that deserve that based on the respect they've given me. Yeah, so this is a channel. This is not like a direct weather. We do real analysis. We have real thoughts. We use science to back up what we're talking about, and that's kind of how we do here. We don't just put up big special graphics. We break down stuff here. This is kind of my thing. So. All the big events that happen, especially in the Northeast, and even just across the Eastern U.S. I'll be Unless something happens, I'll probably be all over it. But again, take a look here. We look at the 12Z Jeffs. But take a look at the Jeffs. There's still so much spread here, and I don't know. How people can so confidently be can have an idea that they know exactly what's going to happen. I mean, this is where they're sticking the yellow, but this is the mean area right now. This whole big thing. Don't get caught up on that little L right there. This is the mean area of low pressure 7 days from now on the GEFS, the Jeffs, all the ensemble members, well, all those members I just showed you. You're from Kansas. That's awesome. You probably get some really big severe weather storms out there. A lot of this stuff, I may not directly talk about Kansas, but a lot of the stuff I go over, you'll probably, you'll get a better idea about what's happening with your weather, because I'll address, if I'm talking about a storm here, then I'm going to talk about the pieces moving through the U.S. and, briefly talk about, weather impacts that move through here. Some of the people know that, we were talking about Nicole and the rain flooding impact up here, but I was really focused on the blizzard that was happening out here as well, because these two were very much connected. So even though you may not live, even though you may not live in the Northeast or the Eastern U.S., it will definitely, yours. Here we go. This is Kansas. Sorry, there's a lot of square states out there. I'm sure it will come up from time to time. Even now, I mean, we can take a look at a lot of the. Obviously, my point is not the models are going to change; they'll continue to change. But my point is, look at this. I'm sure you'll get something out of this in Kansas. You'll probably get something out of this, just based on this dynamic of an upper level low that's going to be swinging through. And I mean, ideally, what we want to look for is we want to move this ridge just a little bit further east is what we want to do. We want this, this ridge out here. Ideally, we can slide this a little bit farther back so we can delay our amplification of our system just a little bit more. And hopefully we can get our upper level low, we can get the track. This is the ideal track for these people to see snow. This is that's the ideal track where you get an upper level low. You get your upper level low. You get it to track something like this, right? This is where you get your upper level low to track, and you get your low pressure to slide just to the east off that, and then hopefully you get a trough. You get a big dip, big negative dip in our trough, and we can slide the moisture to meet the cold air that's in front, and that's how we can create big time snow bands. So all the stuff that I just laid out is the process we look for that's connected to how we want big time snow events. Yeah, dude, I'm pretty sure you're just the same dude in the Twitter chat, to be honest, my man. And you gotta be you gotta relax just a little bit, my man. Just relax, okay? But that's the secret key we look for those I-95 northeast quarter snowstorms. We're getting upper level low at 500, right? This is 500 millibars we look at, right? We're looking for an area at 500 millibars to close off and consolidate as our upper level low. And that's basically what we're looking at. When we look at for big snowstorms, we look for where the upper level low is going to go. In the last storm, we were looking at our upper level low here, but what was happening is we were getting injection period out across it, so we're able to get a lot of snow. I mean, obviously it was something like this. It's kind of it was a little bit further south. Maybe not that south, but I mean, it's not super important. But we're getting something like this. So this is where we're looking at for snow. But all these places we're going to mix. Kind of knew that already, and this is where we're looking at for all snow. And then our biggest snow band ended up being out here in our upper level low. We look typically to the north and the west, and with our upper level low track here, the whole time we were looking at these areas to get the most snow because they were the most favorable track from where the upper level low is. This is not showing current data. This is it's like 5.5 days out, so this is not what's going to happen exactly. I've tried to make that point time and time again to other people, not you specifically, to other people. But we're still a little bit far out in terms of trying to pinpoint exactly what's going to happen with this system. We have a general idea. We got this big ridge that's going to be forming out west. The location will be key. Exactly where, because we want to see, because on the other side of this ridge, notice I pointed the ridge here, and our vort drops in like this. So we're gonna have to try to figure out exactly where this drops in, the angle this drops in, because notice when this big vort drops in, don't focus on exactly what happens here, but on this run, the angle of this is not good enough, right? There's a lot of models hinting at we're going to have an added component to our Nord Stream that's going to try to kick into this piece. But remember, when we have such an amped up piece like this closed off, we're going to need this to open back up in order for this stream interaction to happen. So when we amplify a piece this much, it makes it really hard for us to amplify the system with this piece. And instead, it's going to kick this piece out to the east a little bit, shear it off a little bit, so you can see that instead of typically if this were just 2-part phase, we'd see this piece kick out all the way left. But since it's being shunted and it's being pushed by this vort right here, so all this is trying to get sheared off right now. Until this piece, we can see a stream interaction with this, a direct stream interaction to help with a new phase. And if I play this run out, that's what's going to happen eventually. Just too late on this specific run. Notice how we're starting action more. We're starting to see that phase. It's a little elongated, so it's going to take a little bit more time for this to round the trough base. Right? This is our trough base here. This is our trough base, and we're looking for this energy to wrap around the trough base and up and help consolidate a new upper level low that's going to form. Again, remember this specific run, but it's making it a little bit difficult for this to wrap with this so vertical. It's making it very difficult for this to wrap around the trough base, and that's why you get such an elongated mess here on this. Remember this specific Euro run. And what happens here, this Nord Stream component here is really what's going to be key for wrapping in a lot of our cold air. And this is, and given November, we kind of need this piece. We're going to kind of need this piece. Jet stream velocity pressure. So imagine vorticity at 500 millibars in the atmosphere. This is the top of our atmosphere. We have 0, 250, 500. Imagine, and then we have 700, we have 850, 925, and then 1,000 millibars at the surface. So you imagine here like a 950 millibar hurricane, right? That means the pressure has come all the way down. 950 millibars has come all the way down to the surface. So we're looking at 500 right now, and we're looking at the highlighted vorticity at 500 millibars. So typically these deeper, darker colors you see is how strong the vorticity is at 500 millibars. In the upper level low, we look for is consolidated vorticity, how strong the spin is in the atmosphere at this level. And we're looking for an area to consolidate. And the key is, if you lived in Kansas, I'm not sure where you live, but typically if you lived in, let's say you lived in Northwest Kansas, you would look for an upper level low track right here. And then you would look for snow On the north, you look for out ahead of the upper level low until this pushes through. Then you'll either dry slot or mix or both. And then what happens is on this northwest side right here, that's where you look for snow. We're not doing the dog barking thing. We're not doing the dog barking thing again. We're not doing that again. We're not doing that again. So this is you gotta remember, this is kind of what we're looking at right now to try to figure out. We got so many different moving pieces, and I'm relaying really specific thoughts, but I can't give you my thoughts and what we think is going to happen. We have so many different moving pieces and trying to figure out exactly where these set up. So anybody that tells you they think they know what's going to happen is BSing you. They don't have any reason to know why exactly what's going to happen is going to happen, because we don't know. If anybody knew every time, and they had the science to back it up, they would be famous. They would be super famous. You know why we don't see anybody like that? Is because no one can get it. No one can get it right this far out. So this is why I'm here trying to relay what the different pieces are of what we're talking about, and I'm trying to give you guys some of my insight on what we're looking at. My initial gut sense is based on the current pattern, it'll be key to see how much of a negative NAO we get to develop. We're starting to see we had some models picking up on it. I don't think we're dealing with a cutter. I don't think it's a cutter, and I don't know how much of an out to sea track we're looking at. I would lean against cutter, though. I would lean against cutter. Not really much. Not many of the models are showing a super cutter right now. A lot of the models are showing specifically just an inland runner, where it's super interior favored for the Northeast. That's just specifically what some of the models are showing now. A cutter is a term we use here in the Northeast, where it cuts across through the Midwest, and then the Midwest, it's typically what you see with the Midwest snowstorm. It's very frowned upon. The cutters are in the Northeast, because usually when there's a cutter out here, that means we get rain. The Eastern Seaboard gets rain out here, and we don't like rain in the wintertime. Especially after we've seen snow, then it's just going to melt all the snowpack. Susie, we don't have a crystal ball. We do not have a crystal ball to figure all this out. We're doing the best. Us forecasters do the best we can. I'm not even the best if there is forecasters. I just know enough to forecast decently. But I do what I can. I'm one of the few that only stream this stuff. There's not a lot of you gotta remember, a lot of meteorologists are broadcasting with their jobs. They stream by talking on TV. Yeah. I mean, Mike, after everything I just said, do you really think I can give you an answer of if we know if it's going to snow or not? We're still too far out. No, I appreciate it, Susie. You seem like a rather nice person. So hopefully we can get more nice people in the chat, and less people that think they know it all. So there's been a few too many of those over the past few days or so. So the Euro ensembles won't come out for a little while, but if we looked at them, remember we looked at those earlier. Look at our spread, and our mean spread of all these is offshore in a favorable spot. Remember what I said? We look for the upper level low, to come very close, just off the coast. We look for our upper level low. Typically, this is a little close, but just to the east of Long Island is what we look for a big, interior to coastal snowstorm, This is what we're looking at, an upper level low track just east of Long Island, barely, and where the low pressure will move off just to the east of the upper level low. That's what happens. That's what we typically see is where we get our upper level low here, and then if we get that track with our upper level low, then we look for low pressure to slide just off to the east. A very visible example of that is if we looked at we can look at the ensemble mean here and then look at the ensemble mean at 500. Notice, I gotta zoom out here a little bit. Notice the ensemble mean at 500 is something, but no, it's not quite like that. Not quite. Something like this. This is our ensemble mean at 500, right? And that means we have all, this is, it's not quite like this. This is just the spread. This is a super broad trough. It's depicting, and it's not really depicting that exactly. It's just the spread of the models right now broadening out our trough. It's okay, Mike. You just gotta relax. My man. Everybody's got a lot of thoughts. That always going through your mind. You just gotta trust. You just gotta trust in what I'm saying. I promise, I don't BS you here. I do not BS you here. If I was a BSer, I would have told you already whether or not people were going to see snow. That's not what I do here. I'm sorry, I got sidetracked. The point is, we imagine, this is where the trough is, and then if we slide here, that wasn't the best example. Hold up, let me try to figure it out. What we'll do is we'll slide to the GF. I'll show you a better example. Ensemble a little tricky, but no, yeah, I don't even want to show you because you're just going to get attached to this, right? So we have this system right here. So what happened is this is being shunted right now, so we're struggling. If we back this up a little bit more, I was looking at this one. If we back this up a little bit more and got our southern vort, this piece, this is our southern vort right there, right? Vort stands for vorticity. This is our northern vort. I typically like to call it our north stream, and sometimes I call this the south stream, but typically I call it our southern vort. You'll hear me say this a lot: north stream, southern vort. And we look for these two to phase. We look for a stream interaction between these two pieces. And we typically look for if we had our southern vort on this specific setup right here, our trough backed up just a little bit more, not exactly like this, but just backed up a little bit more. And it wouldn't look like that exactly. And we got our southern vort a little bit out in front, the point where we're consolidating our upper level low in this trough out here. Then we'd be looking at a snowstorm, but it's not. It's happening a bit too late. And remember, this is the piece here. This is a lot of cold air bringing. So our northern north stream right here is bringing in a lot of cold air. So it's going to be pretty cold this weekend across the Northeast. It's going to be pretty cold across the Northeast and Midwest because we got this cold air is coming in on the backside of this trough as well. So probably a lot of these locations are going to be pretty cold this weekend. All these locations here, we're just funneling in cold air from the Arctic, and this is a little bit of a polar vortex stretch. So this excited me. We had a lot of cold air to work with. We just weren't able to get this one to set up. But typically, when we have our 500 vort set up here, we look for an upper level low to consolidate. Now it's a little off the map, but actually maybe if we slide to the US, maybe we'll even cut it off more. I guess this will do. This is our upper level low right here. consolidating. It's a little small, hard to see, I get it. But typically then we look for our low pressure. Maybe not that far. Sorry, the scale's a little bit, it's a little bit off for me right now. We look for our low pressure to form just off. And if when I show you the surface map here, you'll be able to see, notice I drew right over, right? This is where I drew where the low pressure was going to be. If I take it off, notice, this is a little bit more over, but our upper level low I drew right here, right? And then our low pressure is kind of overlapped, but if we play this out just a little bit more, it comes out. That's our upper level low right there. And we're starting to get out of my expertise here. And then notice, since it's kind of starting to wrap around now, the low pressure is it's technically east, but looks north just because of the storm is now in like this, so it's a little bit different. Where typically we see storms wrap like this for our latitude. So it's a little bit different latitude we're working with. No, we do not. The Mexico model. Oh God. The Euro, it depends. It depends. GFS and Euro have different strengths. I'd say the GFS struggles. Sometimes it likes to under amplify systems. And it tends to, we'll talk about convective feedback issues all throughout the winter. But it struggles with convective feedback issues for sure. Meaning it struggles to consolidate convection that's being shunted off Mexico model. It tends to struggle. It tends to, typically it struggles, likes to, you see all this right here. Typically, a lot of times, models like to consolidate energy towards this excess convection. That's what I like to call it, instead of consolidating it around the upper level low. And that's not only a GFS problem, that's a inherent bias in a lot of models. It's just they struggle. They're not perfect. They do the best they can with the physics they have in them. So that they do what they can. In the upper level low, we look for where that point consolidates. And sometimes models struggle to consolidate the upper level low and under amplify the system because of convective feedback issues. So that's something the GFS struggles with. And again, it's not just the GFS. It tends to be more evident on certain events with the GFS than others. The Euro has really struggled with tropical cyclone genesis, meaning when tropical cyclones are forming, it's struggled a lot. It has struggled a lot with those in the beginning stages of tropical cyclones. So I would say the GFS has had a little bit of an edge up on. It's had a little bit of an edge up on the Euro there, but also, you hear the Euro nailed Sandy. Models have changes. The GFS has undergone a lot of changes. It's better than what it used to be. It still has a lot of flaws. All these models have still a lot of flaws. You kind of got to pick up. Every model has a different strong suit for each different setup. So it's not as black and white as is this model better than the other. Certain models have different strengths and weaknesses depending on the current setup. So that's not exactly a clear-cut answer, but I can't give you a clear-cut answer unless I was being BS. They do take actual information on which models are performing the best and accurate at different levels of the atmosphere. So I could try to find some of that information, but to be honest, for me, that's just a waste of my time. I got a decent idea. It's not a waste of my time, but I just don't. I got to do some digging, and it's just not what I want to do. I have a good enough idea. It can help a little bit, but I got friends who I can ask about with some of that stuff as well when I really need that information. But yeah, There's no hurricane coming. There's no hurricane coming. Right? It's just showing that in that specific run. Um, December hurricanes are possible. There's no time. Remember, the atmosphere isn't anything can happen at any time in the atmosphere. There's the month of the year does not impact what the weather wants to do. So I guess I guess we could keep an eye. We could keep an eye on this area, maybe down the road, given there's been a few model runs now that try to suggest something. But I really wouldn't put too much. The GFS, you want to talk about model biases? The GFS has a significant model bias for jumping and latching onto areas. These are called CAGs, CAGs. Uh, have a good night, Suzette. I'm not sure if I'll be streaming tomorrow. To look again for you guys who are curious, I do put in the community tab. I put posts there, and also turn on my note if you want to look for when I'm streaming. Turn on my notifications because sometimes it's not spot of the moment. It's not on the fly. I'll usually I try to put out a community post prior for when I stream, but just in case I don't, you turn on my notifications so you don't miss. But I do give updates sometimes on the community posts, an occasional poll as well, and I try to keep you guys updated there. But if you have the notifications on, um, then you should be all set there. But also, I don't know if I'll be streaming tomorrow. I just wanted to talk about the lake effect event, to be honest. And while I was doing that, I can generally go over the pattern. I probably should have stopped at the lake effect event, given how the chat decided to handle themselves tonight. It is what it is. But I did want to just I wanted to clear. It was good to clear up some stuff too, because it seems like after the chat settled down, you guys actually started to take in some information about what I was talking about. It wasn't possible before because a lot of people were expressing and misleading people in the chat for some reason. Mike, Mike, it was not good tonight. I know it doesn't seem like that, but given the size of my channel, I really, when I have 6, 7 people in the chat, I really shouldn't have to be worrying about stuff like that after time and time again. I mean, I guess it's random. Some people can come in, they don't really know me. Twitter is a little bit different. Twitter, you decide to follow someone because you like them, and then you want to see more of their thoughts. YouTube is just you come in, you may not even like the person, you're just in, you're just exploring, you're wasting time, you're bored, and then you find something, and then maybe you are genuinely interested, or maybe you're just there to troll. So YouTube's a little bit different than Twitter. So I'm trying to manage that balance, that dynamic. But yeah. Point is, CAGs, CAGs here, Central American gyres, they tend this broad area of vorticity strung out. And when we talk about consolidation, sometimes there's little stronger pockets of vorticity, and the GFS likes to latch onto them and then intensify them. Yes, the Twitter chat is much more calm. I hate to break it to you guys. Twitter chat is much more professional. I'm sorry, whether you like it or not. God Church, I would appreciate if you stayed in the YouTube chat, to be honest, to monitor some of those people for me and be a sense of a voice of calm, to be honest. Mike, sub can stay as long as he wants. He just can't comment right now. I don't know if I can bring people back after. I'd have to look at that. I could give him another chance, but I gave him plenty of chances tonight. Yeah, so don't look too much. Remember, 324 hours out. It's a ridiculous amount that's just so far out. Don't get caught up. Even if this was hurricane season, I wouldn't be telling you that this is a likely hurricane coming or something. So don't get caught up in this long range that far out. I'm telling you, we can't even figure out. I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to explain to you guys how we can't even figure out this thing 7 days out yet. It, let alone you want to add on another 7 days. It just gets even more. We heard the other side, my man. We heard the other side. What do you mean the other side? He kept talking about the other side the whole time. He kept talking about the other side to the point where he made himself. I don't know what to tell you. This is my channel. Yeah, you can go if you want to go watch on Sub's channel, you can. But you came here to my channel originally because you either you're interested or want to learn more, or regardless. No, the hurricane is not worrisome, guys. I promise you, there's no hurricane. There's nothing worrisome about that to be. There's nothing worrisome about. There's nothing. You guys got to trust me. You got to trust me in my thoughts. You got to trust how I break down the models on what the models mean more than what the exact model tries to show. Because you can't just believe what the model shows every single time. You just can't. You're gonna be wrong more times than not. Right? There's a reason. Right? I have the following I do. Dude, there's not. You got nothing to worry about. There's nothing. I just explained to you why it's not. Bro, stop, my man. You gotta stop. Come on. Please. I shouldn't. This is enjoyable stuff. This is for me to blow off steam with weather. This is for me to detach myself from the rest of my life. That's the beautiful part about the weather. It's a constant way to detach myself from everything else in my life. Breaking down the weather. It's easy. It's an easy way to detach myself and give myself my mind to have peace on. There's no hurricane. There's no hurricane. There's no hurricane. There's no hurricane coming. Zero. The National Hurricane Center will tell you everything. That National Hurricane Center will tell you everything you need to know. If you see something come up on the National Hurricane Center, then you can then we can talk about it. Follow the National Hurricane Center and let us know. The GFS is not the National Hurricane Center. I don't know what this is so difficult to grasp with some of you guys. I don't understand. And for the Twitter people in there right now, it's me talking to my YouTube chat because they're obsessed with the 360-hour hurricane. No, they're not slow. The National Hurricane Center are the best hurricane forecasters in the world. There's no hurricane coming. There's no hurricane coming. Right? There's no need to be careful. There's no hurricane coming. You guys gotta trust me. You subscribe to my channel and you come into my streams every night. You think if there was a hurricane worth talking about, I wouldn't be talking about it? You think if there was actually something, remember, I don't BS you. I was not wrong. Go look back at my streams. I had streamed like 6 times with Hurricane Ian. Dude, have you listened to anything I've talked about with models for like the past? I can't even tell you what's going to happen. I can't even tell you where exactly this band for the lake effect is going to set up tomorrow. I can't pinpoint an exact. I can't pinpoint it down to like 5 miles. But yes, we know the region. We can barely pinpoint that stuff exactly. But no hurricane happening. Dude, are you trolling? with Z, are you trolling right now, dude? Just be honest. Are you trolling right now? If you're trolling, I'm done with it. I'm done. I have no incentive anymore to stream on YouTube because of the stuff I've put up with for the past like 3 streams in a row now. It's been ridiculous. It's been ridiculous. You're listening to me relay my thoughts and then just completely ignoring it and just following stuff. You didn't see it on a stream. You didn't even, did you listen to what I said? Did you listen to anything I said about how I broke this down? Anything. I told you what the model is trying to show, and you're just completely ignoring what I'm saying. It's my stream. My stream. What do you mean, what stream? I can't. You listen. I love to, but you guys are killing me. You're killing me. You're killing me. I just broke it down. It's not there. It's there on a 360-hour model. This is not now. This is never now. This has never been now. This doesn't happen. This doesn't happen. This does not happen. Like this doesn't happen. You want to let's look back. Why don't we do that? Let's keep looking back. 300 hours out. Freaking 13 days out. Not even close. It's all over the place. Notice all the changes that happen in models. And I just told you the GFS has an inherent bias to latch on to specific areas of vorticity and go off. You gotta stop. You gotta stop. You're killing me. You're killing me. You're killing me with this. This is for me to blow off steam and just go over the weather. Like, are you not listening to what I'm saying? You don't even need to send a message. There's nothing coming right now. There's literally nothing coming. There is no hurricane coming. There's a reason we don't even get to go 10 days out on the Euro. This is 15 days out on the GFS, bro. I'm going to need y'all to stop with this. Like, I get it. There's some part of you that maybe sincerely doesn't understand this, but stop it. Like, you have enough to understand what the model is showing, but for some reason you can't understand what I'm trying to tell you about the models. No. That's not the point. I went over this whole second half of the stream as being me trying to explain to you guys why we don't even know exactly what's going to happen next weekend. And then we double the time frame, and for some reason you think that's a direct hit that's coming. There's no direct. Listen to my words right now. This is where you can focus on regardless of anything I just showed. There's no hurricane coming right now. There's no indication of a hurricane coming. The best we could do is there's a slight hint and maybe there's something we could watch. Maybe like 10 days from now, we could maybe look for. That's the best we can do. Dude, I don't control the weather. There's no, I'm just telling you how these models work. And this just isn't fun for me. There's nothing, I'm not getting anything out of this. I'm just going over simplistic stuff. Like super simplistic stuff. You got to understand. Have you heard a single meteorologist like even mention a possible there's nothing. I've wasted my time talking about something that's not gonna happen. There's nothing happening to there's no hurricane hitting Miami. None. Not one came up. There have only been 8 hurricanes in the history. In the history. There's only been 8 hurricanes in the history in the month of December. It's 150 years. There's no nothing. There's nothing. This is not a first. This is not a first. No, you got that all wrong. No one said this was a first for Buffalo snow. This is not a first. Buffalo has seen big lake effect snowstorms before. That's not a first. That is not a first. That's just inherently wrong. That's just misinformation. That's just not true. There's nothing true about what you just said. This is nothing like the Buffalo snow. Buffalo has seen snow many times before. National Hurricane Center hasn't marked it because there's no reason to mark it. There's nothing to mark. I just explained this, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but you're not listening to what I'm saying. You're just not. I went through this whole stream. I've answered every single question. I before you've even asked it. I have answered multiple people in here. I'm done. Good night. I'm done. Good night. Good night. Bye. I'm sorry. I can't.